Hello, I am Lacey. Like I said, or he said, I am the youngest of the three Keatsman girls. And I just want to point out real quick that when I was in high school, Anna dragged me out of bed at like 5 a.m. for a hike. And she's like sitting and it's sunrise and I'm trying to wake up. And she's like, I'm going to get married at sunrise.
Anna, my love, I stand here with you today before God, 10,000 feet above sea level, on what might be the greatest treasure and adventure of my life.
As I was praying about today, God just kept bringing this concept of trust. In any relationship, trust is the bedrock, right? We trusted our cars to get us here. We're trusting seats to hold us up. But how do you trust someone with your heart? The mark I see on both of them is their first trust is given to Jesus. He's marked their hearts with just intimacy and love. They pursue this invitation with Jesus. And I love that Anna, with the first things that Louie had shared about you was just a woman that pursues God. I was like, dude, you found a good girl. Like that's a woman you want.
In the last year, I've had the privilege to pursue and love you. You've showed me God's grace in the ways that you saw right through me and still pursued me. You've showed me God's unconditional love through the ways you've reminded me of my identity when I don't see it or believe it.
Trust in healing, trust in relationships, trust in the journey, bringing close friends in to pain, to uncertainty, to God, what do you have for me? They've been both very vulnerable in that place.
I began 2022 with a promise to God and a challenge. I will be open to whatever He has for me. Simply ask that He surprise me. 2.5 months later, I met this surprisingly handsome Filipino creative with gold wire frames and 6 sneakers. I remember the week before we matched on Hinge, I was venting to Stephanie about the dating world, frustrated and disheartened because it felt like I was looking for a unicorn that only existed in my prayers between me and Jesus. She encouraged me that my unicorn was out there somewhere, to stay patient and open like I had promised God I would be. And here you are, my unicorn.
And then lastly, the process. You both were very willing to allow yourselves to be refined. I see two that sit before you that are resolved and resolute in their hearts.
You've showed me God's faithfulness by simply being who you are, because you'll always be more than enough for me. Finally, I vow to always seek to love you the way God loved us first, to keep Him our rock and our foundation.
And the thought of being on the receiving end of such a love for the rest of my life gives me the most profound peace and joy I've ever experienced apart from the love of God.
So as I was just asking God, what is like the mantle on their lives? He said, their voices will speak peace into chaos and it will resolve.
As individuals, you both are known for loving big and loving well. This has only been magnified as you have grown to love each other. May your collective love lead others to a love that can only come from heaven, as well as a great love here on earth. And in all this, may you live happily ever after.
Since the very first day we met in person, I joked and thought that you're either going to break my heart or go the distance. I remember driving home that night, praying to God the latter to happen. And here we are.